Keep California cowgirls from vanishing. Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. Training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse Semi. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Practicing over the haunches with an ATV simulated cow.
Pulling slack. And Susie's coming my way because she feels the pressure behind her horns.
This is part 2 of showing how we get Morgan Mare Semi ready to pull a harrow to spread piles of homemade compost in our corridor, which is our test site for growing Timothy hay at Minmore Farms.
Okay, we're in the corridor now. My camera operator just turned on the camera. This is the first time we've brought Semi into the corridor. And we've got mounds of compost. I was afraid she'd be worried about it. Afraid of that.
There's a hole.
It's a hole?
Step up.
Yeah, she's going to be a farming horse. She's got to deal with terrain. Can you keep going up and down, Katie? Everett, if you could come here and help me close this, just in case she gets away from us. Let me show you what our plan is.
Step up.
We're not going to do it all today. It's just the plan.
Step up.
We've got the harrow along the fence in the corridor. We've got the single tree. We've got some chain extensions to extend the tug straps. And the idea is to get Semi used to being in this corridor, which is a little bit claustrophobic. And I have my handyman here to help me figure out how I'm going to hook up that harrow to Semi's extended tug straps and give Semi practice pulling the harrow. She has practice pulling the single tree and the ABS log, but we're ready to move on here. And we may have to back up and practice some more with just the single tree or the single tree and the ABS log. But just for planning purposes today, we're gonna see what is the next small step to getting Semi to pull the harrow. And if this harrow is not going to be adequate for the job, I may have to get a chain harrow. And that's a big step for me. So I don't know if I'm going to take that step. I have to first take the little step and see if the harrow that I have is going to be useful to me here in this little test site where I am going to, I hope, within the next month or so, start growing Timothy hay. I've already bought the seed. Well, I'm going to let you watch for a few minutes while I go get these chain extensions. Then I'm going to go in there with my handyman and we're going to talk about what it's going to take to safely hook up that harrow to the tug straps extended by the chains.
She's not going to go past that hole.
Oh, okay, she has a resistance. What kind of a hole is it, Katie?
There's a deep hole and there's a little bigger one. She should
I think those are from the bulbs.
I see,
Aaron
okay.
never filled
We
those?
took out some bulbs in this test site.
If someone's at her head, she'll probably do it.
Okay. We're going to get the lead rope. You have the lead rope. Okay. We're going to get the lead rope and Everett's going to look for the chains. I put them down somewhere. Yeah, and he's going to bring those. We'll see if we can get her past the hole. You know, we needed to prepare this test site. We had some bulbs. We pulled them out, and that left holes, right? Or did the holes form after you pulled them out, Josh?
When you pulled them out, it...
Okay. All right, just to give you an idea, every single step of the way, what does it take to make a horse a useful farming horse? I see, so don't even bother going past it today. We'll fill the hole. Why deal with the hole now if we can just fill it? It's kind of like my philosophy is I don't take my horses to the ocean because it's not easy to go to the ocean for me. So I don't even want to deal with that spooky object. But I will if I have to, or when it's worth my while to.
Aw.
And the hole can be easily filled, so it's easier just to fill it than to deal with that particular spooky object. But here are the chain extensions, and they actually may not be strong enough to pull this harrow. So that's one of the reasons I have Everett, my handyman, here. Now Josh is going to stop the camera for a minute and come closer to where the harrow is, so you can see what I'm talking about.
Here we have the hole that's spooking Semi, and Sonia's planning to fill it here so Semi doesn't even have to worry about it, so we don't have to worry about her spooking about it.
Okay, so here is the chain extension. Here is the single tree. We've got two chain extensions. For the purpose of discussing this issue right now, we're just going to use one of them. And we're just going to connect two carabiners for now, but when I really do this, I'm going to do it with quick releases. No doubt in my mind, I'm going to do this all with quick releases wherever I can. Careful. Now this single tree is filled with sand, so it made some noise and she just got a little spooked by it. This is about as far away from her back feet as we want to be. Now, Everett, can you?
The other one?
No, we're not going to do the other chain, but get the harrow. It's all right, Sam. Now, Sammy has her blinders on, so she probably doesn't see it. But what I want to know from my handyman, forces and strength and so forth. This is an ABS log. We can get the sand out of it, or we can leave the sand in it. It keeps it from bouncing. I want to be able to put this ABS log down on the ground and connect this harrow with this giant bolt that we put in into that ABS log, and then have her pull the harrow over these mounds of compost that got wet last night because it rained quite a bit.
I'm not sure the ABS is strong enough.
Okay, so Everett's saying he's not sure the ABS is strong enough, and that's exactly why we're doing this session today. Everett, facing the camera, could you explain that and speak loud because we don't have our mics today? What do you think we need to get, and why do you think we need to get it?
Well, there's not a lot of strength in the ABS, and we're going to have to drill a hole in it to get the pull point in there, and that's just going to weaken it even more. That's
Okay.
going to give a point where when the horse starts pulling, it's just going to bend it.
Okay, the hole in the middle of the ABS will weaken it. Remember, we've been using this ABS single tree just for training purposes, but now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of actually farming. So a piece of wood, but it has to be cylindrical like this. Something strong with a hole in it that this bolt, can you pick that up and show the bolt to the camera? This bolt will fit into, and it's got a nut. See, and then we've got to get Sammy used to pulling something that heavy. See, it does work. If you can get the horsepower to pull this harrow over these piles of compost, I think we can begin to flatten this compost out. So Everett, speak loud because we don't have the mics. What do you think we should get next to make this not just a training single tree, but a real one? Metal?
I would use a metal.
Metal.
Same size.
Okay. Same size metal. And then you can drill through it.
Drill some holes for your hooks as well as the...
Okay, we're going to drill holes for the through bolts as well as for the bolt in the harrow, and then come back out here after we've practiced a whole lot more, not pulling something this heavy, but in here, in this corridor, pulling the single tree with somebody holding it up. Let me show you what I mean. Everything's one small step at a time like this. We're going to have Semi walk around with the single tree and somebody standing there. Then when we have the ABS log in here, we'll connect the ABS log to the single tree. We'll have somebody standing here, somebody standing at the end of the log, and we'll ask her to pull that. Now these are all portable fences, portable panels, so we can open them. It's going to be hard to make a good U-turn in here in certain places. So we'll go out and come back in. We're going to train her to not be claustrophobic in this corridor. We're going to train her to pull heavier items. We're going to train her to allow the sound of pulling these items behind her not to spook her. And we're going to continue to get the equipment that we feel we need to really farm here at Minmore Farms. And that's all for today.
You want me to add one more thing to it?
Okay, one more thing.
And this long bolt will allow us with the multiple nuts. I think we're going to have to select the right point to pull this. Pulling it from the bottom is going to pull it
Careful.
like so, and so the front end won't work. So we need to pull it at such a point.
Yes.
Coming off the horse,
Okay,
so
he's talking about making this an effective harrow the way it is. So do you think, from what you just experienced by pulling it yourself through this pile, that this harrow pulled properly by a properly trained horse can flatten out these piles?
I would think so. I'm going to guess that by design, it may even try to loosen up the topsoil a little bit.
Oh, that's okay with me.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think the secret is to get, because of the length of these things, is to get the right pull point so that we're not, if we just pull on this, the last two things are the only thing holding it.
Right. He's saying if it's too high, it will only be harrowing with the last few times. We need to get the right pull point on that very big, long bolt and then be able to get all the tines doing the work. So, won't be our next session. Our next session, we're probably going to do just some more of this training with the training tools. But now at least I know what materials to get for the next step in farming with Morgan horses at Minmore Farms. And that's all for today. This is a postscript. I'm now looking at this hole. I don't blame Semi for being concerned about this because she doesn't have color perception, but she can see that there's a different shade here at this quite large hole. She doesn't know if it's quicksand or what. So, you know, and I don't want to deal with this obstacle. I just want to fill it with something that she would be comfortable passing. And of course, in so doing, I'm going to have to convince her to respect my judgment, to trust me, and to walk by it, if not on it. But you know, it may be pretty soft too because we took all those bulbs out. So I have to make sure that whatever we put in there, we can compress, compact. We may even just take this nearby compost, fill it in and compact it. Because at least the compost is the same color as the compost here, so she won't think it's something scary. Okay, now Everett and I are talking a little bit more about possible next step and concerns about this training device and this farm tool. And Everett, why don't you go ahead and say it to the camera?
Well, what I was going to point out is I've got this pull board, or we call it a single tree.
Single tree.
Laying up so that it's suspended. But I'm not putting very much pressure at all with my foot.
But it's bending.
It's bending quite easily.
I see.
So when you get that horse pulling on this thing,
yes,
you can easily snap.
Okay, so it's not that hard to get a piece of metal and to drill through it. No. So for pulling this harrow, we are going to go for the metal. We'll continue to use the ABS, the Schedule 80 conduit, the Schedule 40 PVC for training devices, but not for farming tools. We're going to go as strong as we can. And Everett, can you point out on camera what you were telling me about the length of that bolt?
Well, that is the other concern is, we're guessing right now because we haven't actually done it, but I'm guessing that the pull point is going to have to be fairly high on this bolt, which is, with some nuts here we can adjust it where that is. The further up we get, the more potential we have of just bending the bolt when we start pulling this and when this thing starts digging into the dirt. So that may be a secondary issue that we have to, like to have a brace going back here. We may have to do the same thing here.
I see. Which would be a metal brace that we have to consider buying ahead of time and welding on?
Yeah, well, or attaching it in one fashion or another.
Okay.
This thing was designed to be pulled by a wagon that pulls, the pull point is designed to be at the right level.
Yes.
Whereas the horse, the lines are going to be coming down at an angle. So.
Yes, okay. Because we are going to do this as a walk behind at first. We're not ready to try it with a wagon or a four-cart or anything, although ultimately that is our ultimate goal. So we're going to keep that kind of flexibility in mind, but safety, strength are all #1 concerns, and of course to get the horse adjusted to the request that we're now making to them be farming horses, not just performance horses, not just grazing here in this pasture, but doing some work for us from time to time so that they have some yummy hay in the future, homegrown, to graze.
Further preparation to prepare Semi to pull the ABS log in the corridor.
To ground drive here in the corridor with the ABS log. And the first thing we're showing you is that we have filled in the hole that we noticed was kind of an obstacle to her last time. We put compost on top of the hole so it's the same color, and you can see by lead line that she's willing to not only go by it, but step over it. And now we're going to do the same thing with the ground driving. Josh is going to be nearby in case Katie needs help. But I really don't think, but I'm going to double check with Katie that we need to have the lead line on. Maybe, no lead line, she said. Josh, you're just going to walk by Semi's head in case we have trouble. And the objective today is ground driving with full harness on here in this corridor. You see that over there in the corridor behind Sem, we have opened the panel 90 degrees, so it's strong, so we can go in and out there. And at the other end of the corridor, we've done the same thing. So one small step at a time. We're going to put the single tree on, walk with it, then put the ABS log on, walk with it, and then the next time we do this and show you by camera, we hope to do it with a metal single tree and a harrow. Here goes Katie out of the corridor, because the corridor is a little bit too narrow to do U-turns with a long pull. Josh is nearby. If Semi were showing any kind of stress, I'd have him on the other side of the panels, but so far you can see that Semi's body language is quite calm. In this panel, open panel, gate, Katie has my cart whip in her hand just in case she wants to give a forward motion signal on Semi's hip. It's long enough for that, lightweight. Whoa, a little bit scared. What do you think she got scared at, Katie?
I think it was Josh.
Josh being there. Okay, Josh, you just stand there, if you would. She doesn't know Josh real well. And remember, she has blinders on, so maybe she heard him, maybe she saw him. Just wasn't confident. Not enough respect yet. But with repetition, we think we'll get it. With Shadrach, Triton, Semi. Legacy to my stallion, Shadrach, Triton, Jim Crack. Okay, right here in front of the camera, let's stop her.
Oh. Yeah.
And I'm going to turn the camera off for a moment. We're going to pull the tug straps out. And this time we're going to use some chains, which are really just extended stud chains to extend the tug straps, because they'll be stronger than what we used last time. Because eventually what we want to do is attach a metal harrow and a metal single tree to the chains and have her pull that. Seldom do we rehearse here. We turned off the camera just to get the tack on. See that we have the tug straps extended with the chains that are pretty strong because they're stud chains. We've got quick releases between the tug straps and the stud chains. Looks like one is a little longer than the other, but for today, the idea is just to have Katie do one lap around, unless we have trouble, and we'll stop immediately. Through the rest of this corridor, through the open gate over there where we have the ABS log sitting, but Semi didn't seem to be concerned about it when we went through a few minutes ago. Josh is just going to make sure that there's not a lot of sagging chain, but not too much pressure with the single tree. Just kind of walk along with Katie, and you see Katie had to be off to the side ever so slightly so that we could do this safely, because it is unsafe to have Josh on the other side of the single tree. Semi is wondering why it's taking so long, but here we go. Watch the body language. Anything at any moment could spook her. We're trying to do this as safely as possible. Can you picture her doing this with a harrow soon to flatten out these mounds of homemade compost? Okay, and stop when you get here.
Oh.
Good so far. Turn off the camera and add the ABS log. For a fourth hand to come here and help us with the ABS log, because we need somebody to hold it up and somebody to do camera. So we're going to challenge Semi and the team to go the other direction, which, you know, could have other spooky objects for Semi to be concerned about. So far, so good. We have the ABS single tree connected with stud chains to the tug straps. Semi is fully harnessed, going through the corridor, out the portable panel gates, and back into the corridor. And there's the ABS log that we want to use. Looks like Semi kind of avoided going right into the gateway. We'll ask Katie when she comes back, was there any confusion there? Repetition is important. Okay, if you could stop close enough to tell us, did she go the wrong route?
Yeah, she started veering off.
She started, you think she saw the ABS log with a different vantage point and got concerned?
Yeah, it's possible. She definitely watches it every time we go past.
Okay, she's a little bit concerned about that monstrous looking thing. It's all right. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do today then, because safety is number one. What we're going to do is connect the ABS log, bring the camera a little farther back, and go a couple steps, because we'll have nobody to move the camera for us to watch the whole route. But you know, one small step at a time. Semi sees me moving the camera, so she doesn't look like she's spooked by that. I'm going to go get the ABS log and connect it to the single tree. Josh is going to stand right where he is. I'm going to hold up the far end of the ABS log, and we're going to ask Semi to move a few steps in the step-up, straight path direction. And that's all. That's all we'll do today, unless our fourth hand shows up here. So leaving the camera on, here I go. Making noises.
Easy. Cool.
It's all right, Sam. It's all right, Sam.
Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. Oh. It's okay. It's okay.
It's the noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say that's as far as we're going to go today. This will have to be at our next session. As quiet as I was trying to be with that ABS log, there are some chains and clasps on it. It was making noises. Our fourth hand hasn't shown up yet, so in the interest of safety, we'll just have to show you at our next session that Semi actually is willing to pull that log, and what small steps we take to get her confident that it's not an obstacle to be afraid of, it's not a predator, it's just her job. She's going to be pulling things as a farm horse here at Minmore Farms. Katie has been ground driving here in our pasture, and the weather is nice. Finally a spring-like day in Santa Cruz, and Semi has been behaving very well. All we're going to do now for a couple minutes is pick up that ABS log. I have a chain on the tail of it, and go straight. We're going to do a step up. We're not going to put anything down today. We just want Semi to realize that things are behind her, and we may, if things are going well, pull back a little bit with the single tree while it's in Josh's arms and in his hands, just so she knows that the pull will be felt on her collar, which is around her neck. One small step at a time. So here we go for a few steps. Not even a few moments, just a few steps. One small step at a time in this training to make my livestock here at Minmore Farms farming tools. When you're ready, Katie, ask her to step up. And Josh, try to keep the right side of that single tree parallel with the ground as you have the left one. That's right, you have to balance yourself, okay? Okay, can you hold her? Good, good. How is she? Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Getting a little, biting her butt a
Little antsy. Okay, I'm putting it down here, trying not to make any noise. Disconnect. All right. Okay, notice that we pulled the tug straps free of the single tree and the ABS log, just giving Semi a chance to relax while she ground drives around here in her full harness, because she did get just ever so slightly stressed. We could see it by seeing her bite at the bit when she heard the chains of the ABS log. As quiet as I was trying to be, but you know, we just have to get her to trust us, not be scared of these sounds, not be scared of these feelings. And boy, is she strong enough to help us do our farming here.
Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Semi, Rusty and Susie, heifer calf Sela. For more information, www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.